Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video, we are going to look into sensitive children. What does it mean exactly? I want to look into how to help your sensitive child to navigate life. Now, maybe you as the parent don't really have access to your own emotions, or you just start to explore that field. Now, there are many people of us in my age who don't really know how to access their emotions, or maybe not to a full extent, or maybe you want to learn more or anything like this, right? Now, if this is what you're looking for, then this video is for you. I want to give you a little bit of insight on what you can do to help your child to navigate through. Now, if you're someone who may have been neglected in a sense, right? Because maybe you were the child who didn't really receive the support needed from the parents, I want to give you a little bit insight too. So if that is what you're looking for, definitely for you too. My name is Patricia. I'm a life coach. And if we meet the first time, I'm so happy that you're here with me today. Don't forget to subscribe down here somewhere and to give this video a thumbs up. This is just to spread the word a little bit more and to support someone else. And yeah, this is how it works. Okay, with this said, let's actually start to get into today's video. The reason why I bring this video, is because there are many people who don't really have the access to their own emotions. And it's hard to share this with your child if you have not that really much access to your emotions, because you also didn't really learn how that works. You have never really sat down with your feelings. You were always on the edge. You always try to perform, or you try to show someone something to earn the love or whatsoever. Now, a sensitive child is someone who can feel a lot, mostly a lot more than other people can. And this means that it needs additionally care from your side, or from the parent who needs to help the child to navigate through it, because that child senses a lot of emotions and don't understand, or doesn't understand, that not all of those emotions that this child is feeling are actually theirs, okay? So for them, it's extremely hard to differentiate between here and between there. And it's not always just here, but it's also externally a lot of things going on. Example, that child is coming into a room and she or her or him can feel a lot on vibes, and understands that there are so many maybe things going on that the child doesn't understand, suffering, painful things that come up. And that child who is a little bit like taking it all in and kind of like thinking it's his or her own emotion, doesn't know how to deal with it, and also is not capable to solve any of it, because it's not really something that the child can solve. It's rather a, hey, I can sense something is here. Now I can help that other child to discover this emotion, but I cannot really solve it on my own. And I have no clue, or that child has no clue, how to set boundaries, meaning emotionally boundaries, and also about to not interact socially with every single child that may suffer, or that may have his or her difficulties. Those children are highly sensitive because they see through everything right away, and there is nothing really that protects them and keeps them in a safe environment. So as the parent, it's important to listen to them carefully when they come up with something or when they share. It's most important to let them talk and let them share what they feel and how they feel, and to actually question them and to see, is this really their feeling or is this someone else's feelings, okay? And sometimes those things are really intertwined and it's not so logical. It's about, and it's not about, you cannot just tell that child, oh, okay, well, not to worry, just don't let this come close. This doesn't really help the child because that child has no idea how to set those boundaries, okay, in a practical sense. They don't know how that works. And I'm talking here about experiences because I didn't know how that works. Like I could feel when I came into a room and the teacher was like, felt so incredible, unsure about himself, and then tried to somehow teach me on confidence. And I was like, huh? I didn't really got that. And so many of those things actually didn't make sense to me because what they were saying and how they felt was completely the opposite, and it was so confusing. I never got that. I never understood that part because it was so different. So they would say something, but actually the way how they or how I felt they feel was very different. So a sensitive child is also feeling their emotions as if it is their own, meaning that person, that teacher, that person over there is actually sharing their securities right away with me because they haven't done the work. They haven't started to look internally to see what is it that I'm actually giving out, you see? And me as the child, I cannot really reflect because I don't understand the situation. I don't understand what's going on, right? Part of the game here is to learn and to teach your own child how they can actually do that and how they can navigate through life. And this works with being understanding, okay? Learn to see their feelings not necessarily as their own, but take it as, okay, maybe we need to look into the bigger picture. What has happened? Why are you confused? You see? Sometimes I remember I was sitting in front of the teacher and the teacher would tell me something like, well, you know, everything will be okay. And they tried to kind of calm me. But inside of them, they were nervous on all levels. Like I could sense it right away. And this made me so confused because I felt that that person is lying straight away in my face. I felt that person was lying the shit out of them. You know what I mean? Like I felt so neglected. I felt abused pretty much because I felt you are lying to me. But you want to lie to me, you know what I mean? But because they had no access to their own emotions, it wasn't even intentional. You see how this is twisted here, right? So as a child, you don't understand that. And you need parents who are quite open to see that big picture, because it's not just, they just feel something else and they're saying something else, but don't care. Hey, you need to learn how to navigate through that, right? And because that child can actually use this tool later on to help someone else to get their emotions out, right? To express themselves more. That is actually what this is here for, right? It's not to See, that talent, that skill your child has is not to look into people's life and kind of point fingers and say something like, yeah, you haven't cleaned up, you also haven't, oh my god, like this world is ooh. This is here to help the world to open up more, because we are all so closed up. We are so closed. We are not even honest to ourselves. We don't even look into the mirror and tell ourselves really what is going on, because we don't know. You see how this is. It's not intentional, but those people or those kids who are highly sensitive, they feel that the people around them are really messing around with them. They feel especially hurt because what you're doing doesn't match with what you're saying. And also not with the emotions. It's a very confusing time from your child's perspectives, very confusing. So what you need to explain to the child, and for that actually you do need access to your own emotions, so you do need to sit down with your child and to just feel into yourself. You need to strengthen your intuition. You need to strengthen your feminine side inside of you. If you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. You need to strengthen that part of you that actually allows you to step into that world and to navigate the world differently, because from that perspective you can create, right? You can create. So my cat is just going nuts. Maybe she's just confirming, you know? So with this said, what you need to do is to give your child the understanding that the world isn't black or white. The world has a lot of gray areas. We try to control because we try to feel safe. And many people are doing this. They try to manipulate someone else so that they are getting something out of that to feel safe, which is never really working, but we are trying to do that way. And your child needs to understand what is the purpose of why they're sharing certain things, why they're saying certain things, what stands behind that. And this means a lot from the parent side is required so that that sensitive child actually feels being held. It needs a lot. And it actually, when I look back, I don't know if it was possible in the time I grew up to receive something like that from my parents, because they were not even able to connect to their own emotions. Like nowadays, people are a little bit more open, not super much, but even a bit is better than back then, right? So I can see that people are starting to understand the importance of emotions and how this is actually giving you directions in life, right? So when I grew up, emotions, feelings, that was just, I have to say it, that was just complete bullshit. Because people believed that is something that has zero value, right? Being happy, who cares? It was about you need to survive. But nowadays we are into a time where we don't necessarily need to survive. We want to explore. We want to be. We want to be inspired. We want to be happy, you see? So the generation now looks for something else. And that actually needs to be pushed, because it's something that will help the world to be more in a happy place, right? And not into this suffering, into this pain. A lot of people I meet are in pain. There are only very few who understand that pain can be transformed and released, right? There's not many people who understand this benefit. There are more and more coming, okay? More and more. This is coming, and I can see it already, but it's not. It's still not in a high percentage yet. So if you do have a child who is sensitive, most probably this will be one of your child's skills to help people to awaken this inner world, right? To awaken that the suffering they have can actually be transformed and they can live another life. But before we do that, we have to do this inner work. And as a parent, you are required, or it needs a lot of space from you to give to that child, to hold that space for your child and to give it a safe environment where the child can actually share, right? Can share how they feel, can share that there is something going on that they don't know why, and they try to make sense of it, and they don't really get it yet, right? It's quite common. And what I realized as well is that I was, a lot of times when I could feel so much, I was looked at the problem, because I would actually start speaking about it. I would talk about it a lot, and I would get really upset or angry even, and I would share what is going on, but not necessarily from me, but from what I can sense in our family dynamic. For example, I could sense that there's so much anger, right? And that anger wanted to be expressed, so I did, and it wasn't all my own, it was from my family dynamic that had to be expressed, but I didn't know that it wasn't me. I thought those were all my emotions, and it was overwhelming, like totally overwhelming. And I tried to shut down so many times until I started to use that skill for the better, and not to punish other people, or not to point fingers to other people, but to use it as a skill to help someone else with what I can offer, right? And so it is really, as a parent, it's about sitting down, letting your child feel it all and being present and listen. Just listen. You don't need to solve the problem. That's not what you're here for. Listen, hold space. Try to maybe give another viewpoint. Share your knowledge, because that's when you learn as well. You learn from the child, and the child learns from you. There is never, when I grew up, there was this idea that the parent is the authority and they know it all, right? And the child is like this little stupid thing who has no clue in life. But actually, there is a lot of wisdom in that child that is brought in. And so if you push that down, it's kind of sad, because there is no exchange. And there would be so much exchange, you see. There would be so much to share, to give, and to explore together. Yeah, I think this was more or less it. Yeah. Let me know if this video has helped you. It's quite hard to put this all together of what I see and hear, and sometimes I'm trying to cover a lot of topics in one, so feel free to listen to this video one more time to receive all the answers that you may need to hear. See, sometimes it does take a while until it can actually get into our heart, because this video needs to be listened by our hearts, and it's not about logical and from here. See, our heart is actually capable to do way more things than our mind. And so, let's see what is possible here. With this said, thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a wonderful day or night or morning, however. And see you next time. Bye bye.